there. Welcome to the amazing world of occupational therapy. If you're reading this, you've likely just started on a fascinating journey to help people live their lives to the fullest. It's an incredibly rewarding path, but it can also feel a bit overwhelming at first. You'll be learning about anatomy, psychology, conditions, interventions. But I want to talk to you about your secret weapon, a superpowered toolkit for your brain. Occupational therapy models. They might sound academic or dry, but they're the key to unlocking your potential as an OT. Models are like maps that guide you through a person's life, helping you see the bigger picture. Imagine you're a detective solving a case. The case. How can I help this person do what they want and need to do? Without a framework, you search randomly, grabbing little clues. You might focus only on physical ability or only on the home environment. A good detective has a method, a system to gather and organize evidence. That's exactly what OT models give you. They provide a structure to think with, helping you consider all the factors that affect daily activities, or occupations as we call them. So what exactly is an occupational therapy model? In the simplest terms, a model is a way of organizing your thoughts. It's a theoretical framework that helps explain the relationship between a person, their environment, their ability to do things, their occupations. Think of it like a pair of special glasses. When you put them on, they help you see all the different parts of a person's life and how they connect. Without these glasses, you might only see one part of the problem, like a physical injury. But with the model glasses on, you see the person, their home, their family, their hobbies, their motivation, and how all these things work together to either help or hinder them. These models are incredibly useful because they give you a structured way to approach your work. When a new client comes to you, you have a huge amount of information to gather. Where do you start? What questions do you ask? A model gives you a roadmap. It tells you what areas to investigate, such as the person's skills, their daily routines, the physical space they live in, the social support they have. Let's start with our first model, the ecology of human performance, or EHP for short. The big idea: a person's performance in daily tasks is deeply affected by their context. What is context? It's everything that surrounds the person, their environment. EHP links person and context. You can't really understand one without the other. It's the interaction between a person and their context that determines how well they can perform a task. It's a practical, real-world lens. It's not just what a person can do, but what they do within their specific world. The EHP model gives us 5 main strategies for intervention: establish or restore, alter, adapt or modify. For example, add a grab rail in the shower, or use a special keyboard. Prevent, create. Let's use a simple example. Imagine Tom, a student who uses a wheelchair and wants to join the university cooking club. You wouldn't just look at Tom's physical ability to chop vegetables. You'd look at the whole context. Is the cooking classroom accessible? Are the countertops at a height he can reach from his wheelchair? Are the other students supportive? Is the club scheduled at a time that works with his other commitments? Next up is the Person Environment Occupation Model, or PEO. This is another wonderfully simple yet powerful model. It suggests that occupational performance is the result of interaction between 3 key components: person, environment, occupation. The person includes physical abilities, emotional abilities, cognitive abilities, values, life experiences. The environment includes physical aspects, social aspects, cultural aspects, institutional aspects. The occupation is the task the person wants or needs to do. It's about the interplay between these 3 circles. Imagine them as 3 overlapping circles. The triple overlap is where occupational performance happens. Bigger overlap equals better performance and well-being. Small overlap equals poor fit and struggle. An OT identifies poor fit areas and increases overlap. These circles change over a lifetime. Mrs. Smith loves gardening but now has arthritis. Change in the person circle. Her garden, the environment, has heavy soil and traditional tools. Gardening, the occupation, involves kneeling, digging, gripping. Now let's talk about one of the most well-known models in our field, the model of human occupation, or EHP-PEO. MOHO takes a deep dive into the person. It's about understanding what motivates, organizes, and enables people to engage in occupations. MOHO asks, what makes people tick? MOHO proposes 3 interconnected internal components: volition, habituation, performance capacity. Volition, values, what they find important. Interests, what they enjoy. Personal causation, how capable and effective they feel. Habituation, habits, like automatically making coffee every morning. Roles, being a student, a parent, or an employee. Performance capacity, muscles and bones, the physical abilities. Cognitive functions, attention, memory, processing. It helps you understand the inner world of your client. Meet David, after a stroke, struggling to return as an accountant. Volition, does he still value his work? Volition, does he believe he can be an accountant again? Habituation, getting up. Habituation, commuting. Habituation, working a full day. His role as a provider feels threatened. Performance capacity, can he concentrate? Performance capacity, can he use a computer? Let's add another fantastic model to our toolkit, the Canadian Model of Occupational Performance and Engagement, or CMOP-E. This model evolved from an earlier version and places the person's spirituality right at its core. Now, spirituality here doesn't necessarily mean religion. In CMOP-E, spirituality is the very essence of a person. Their will, their drive, their sense of meaning and purpose. It's the core that gives life to other aspects of the person. The person is seen as this spiritual core, surrounded by their cognitive, affective, physical abilities. CMOP-E looks similar to PEO because it considers interaction between person, environment, occupation. It defines occupations in 3 categories: self-care, dressing, eating, productivity, work, school, volunteering, leisure, hobbies, socializing. Occupational performance happens at the intersection of person, occupation, and environment. The E stands for engagement, not just doing, but meaningful participation. Example, Maria, a teenager with severe anxiety who stopped going to school or seeing friends. Now that we've looked at these 4 brilliant models, EHP-PEO-MOHO, CMOP-E, you might be noticing that they have a lot in common. This is great. Core truths in occupational therapy. Almost all agree occupational performance is influenced by a dynamic relationship between the person and their environment. Person-environment occupation, EHP, PEO, and CMOP-E explicitly use those concepts. They see the OT's role as analyzing the relationship, improving the fit or interaction to enable occupation. However, there are important differences. EHP is strong when the issue is environmental. Establish or restore, alter, adapt, prevent, create, practical. Home modifications. Practical, accessibility consulting. MOHO's focus is internal. Client seems unmotivated. Identity struggles after an injury. Can't get back into routine, volition, habituation, performance capacity. So why have we spent all this time talking about circles, contexts, volition? Because these models are going to be your best friends throughout your career. They are the bridge that connects the theory you learn in the classroom to the real-life people you will be helping. When you're faced with a complex situation and you're not sure where to start, a model will give you a clear path. It helps you organize the mountain of information you gather during an assessment into a coherent story. It turns chaos into clarity, allowing you to see the patterns and identify the key areas that need your attention. These frameworks also make you a better problem solver. They encourage you to think outside the box and consider a wide range of solutions. For example, without a model, you might only focus on restoring a person's physical skills. But with models like EHP or PEO in your mind, you'll automatically start thinking about other solutions. Could you adapt the environment? Could you modify the task? Could you find a different way for the person to achieve their goal? This multifaceted approach is the hallmark of a great occupational therapist and leads to more creative, effective, and client-centered interventions that make a genuine difference. Moreover, using models elevates your professional standing. It shows that your practice is grounded in established theory and evidence, not just guesswork or intuition. Most importantly, these models ensure that you never lose sight of what truly matters: the client. Every single one of these models in its own way pushes you to be client-centered. They constantly remind you that you are not just treating a condition or a symptom. Unique Dreams values roles environments.